Hello students, in continuity of chapter 17, breathing and exchange of gases. Now we are going to study about transport of gases. It means transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide in human body. Then regulation of respiration and disorders of respiratory system. We have already studied in this chapter about breathing and respiration mechanism, which are basic points related with this human respiratory system, respiratory organs, and about exchange of gases. Now let's study about transport of gases. Blood is the medium for transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide in human body, and that's why blood is also known as fluid connective tissue. About 97% of the oxygen is transported by RBC in the blood. So we can say the major amount of blood, that is oxygen, 97% is transported through red blood cell RBC in the blood. Now what about the remaining 3%? This remaining 3% of oxygen is carried in a dissolved state through the plasma. So we can say for transportation of 97% of oxygen in blood, RBC can carry out this function, and for 3% only, blood plasma play important role. Same way we can also discuss about carbon dioxide released during this process. Nearly 20 to 25% of carbon dioxide is transported by RBC, well 70% of it is carried out by bicarbonate. It is interesting. During transportation of carbon dioxide in blood, we can say the majority, 70% of it is carried out by bicarbonate form. About 7% of carbon dioxide is carried in a dissolved state through plasma. So this way, in human body, the transportation of gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide take place. Now let's discuss about transport of oxygen in human body. Hemoglobin is a red colored iron containing pigment present in the RBC. We know that its main function is transportation of oxygen in blood. How this mechanism take place? Oxygen can bind with hemoglobin in a reversible manner to form oxyhemoglobin. So first of all, this oxygen can bind with hemoglobin and the substance is formed, that is oxyhemoglobin. Each hemoglobin is actually conjugated type of protein. Each hemoglobin molecule can carry a amount maximum of 4 molecule of oxygen. So one hemoglobin molecule, it can carry 4 molecules of oxygen. Binding of oxygen with hemoglobin is primarily related to partial pressure of oxygen. Partial pressure of carbon dioxide, hydrogen ion and concentration and temperature are the other factors which can interfere with this binding. A sigmoid curve is obtained when percentage saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen is plotted against the PO2. So when one can try to obtain this, the percentage saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen plotted against the partial pressure of oxygen. This curve is called oxygen dissociation curve, and it's highly useful in studying the effect of factors like PCO2, it means that partial pressure of carbon dioxide, H plus concentration on binding of O2 with hemoglobin. In the alveoli, where there is high PO2, partial pressure of oxygen, low PCO2, partial pressure of carbon dioxide, lesser H plus concentration and lower temperature. Factors are all favorable for the formation of oxyhemoglobin, where in the tissue low PO2, high PCO2, high H plus concentration and high temperature exists. The conditions are favorable for dissociation of oxygen from the oxyhemoglobin. So this way, in both direction, this mechanism takes place during transport of oxygen. It clearly indicates that oxygen gets bound to hemoglobin in the lung surface and gets disassociated at the tissue. Every 100 ml of oxygenated blood can deliver around 5 ml of oxygen to the tissues under normal physiological condition. So we can say in normal healthy person, every 100 ml of oxygenated blood can deliver around 5 ml of oxygen to the tissues under normal physiological condition. So this way in human body, through blood is a medium, transport of oxygen take place. Transport of CO2, carbon dioxide. CO2 is carried by hemoglobin as carbaminohemoglobin. That is important here. In the form of carbaminohemoglobin, so about 20 to 25% is amount. This binding is related to the partial pressure of carbon dioxide. PO2 is a major factor which could affect this binding. When PCO2 is high and PO2 is low, PCO2 is high and PO2 is low, as in the tissues, more binding of carbon dioxide occurs when the PCO2 is low and PO2 is high, as the annually dissociation of CO2 from carbaminohemoglobin take place. So here also we can say, like transportation of oxygen, here during transportation of carbon dioxide also in blood, this type of transportation take place in both directions. We can say CO2 which is bound to hemoglobin from the tissue is delivered at the alveoli. RBC contain a very high concentration of the enzyme, that is carbonic anhydrase, and minute quantity of the same is present in the plasma also. This enzyme, it means carbonic anhydrate enzyme, is facilitated the reaction in both direction. So in the presence of this enzyme, actually it combines CO2 plus H2. In the presence of carbonic anhydrase, H2CO3 is formed. So both direction equation take place. In the presence of again carbonic anhydrase, that H2CO3 is dissociated with HCO3 minus and H plus. At the tissue site where partial pressure of CO2 is high due to its catabolism, CO2 diffuses into blood, that is RBC and plasma, and forms HCO3 minus and H plus. At the alveolar site where PCO2 is low, the reaction proceeds in the opposite direction, leading to the formation of CO2 and H2O. Thus, CO2 trapped as bicarbonate at the tissue level and transported to the alveoli is released out as CO2. So this way, in human body, the transportation of carbon dioxide CO2 take place. Every 100 ml of deoxygenated blood delivers approximately 4 ml of carbon dioxide to the alveoli. This statement is very important to understand. Every 100 ml of deoxygenated blood delivers approximately 4 ml of carbon dioxide to the alveoli. So, in human body, this way, through this mechanism, the transportation of carbon dioxide take place. So, if you talk overall, the transportation of gases when the blood is the medium for transportation of oxygen and carbon dioxide, and this way through RBC and blood plasma in our body, in human body, transportation of both gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide, take place. Now let's discuss about regulation of respiration. Now we are aware of entire mechanism of breathing and respiration take place in human body. What about regulation of this mechanism? Human beings have a significant ability to maintain and moderate the respiratory rhythm to suit the demands of the body tissue. This is done by the neural system. That is important. It is regulated by neural system, a specialized center present in the medulla region of the brain. It is called respiratory rhythm center. Is primarily responsible for this regulation. So, in human brain, this region, medulla, that is region responsible where the respiratory rhythm center they are located. Another center present in the pons region of the brain, it is called pneumotaxic center, can moderate the functions of the respiratory rhythm center. So, both this part of brain, they are responsible for mechanism of regulation of respiration. Neural signal from this center can reduce the duration of inspiration, means inhalation, and thereby alter the respiratory rate. Chemosensitive area is situated adjacent to the rhythm center, which is highly sensitive to carbon dioxide and hydrogen ions. So this chemosensitive area, which is situated adjacent to the rhythm center in brain, which is highly sensitive to CO2 and hydrogen ions. Increase in these substances can activate the center, which in turn can signal the rhythm center to make necessary adjustments in the respiratory process by which these substances can be eliminated. Receptors associated with aortic arc and carotid artery also can recognize changes in carbon dioxide and H plus concentration and send necessary signals to the rhythm center for remedial actions. So this way, during this mechanism, this type of reactions take place. Role of oxygen in the regulation of respiratory rhythm is quite insignificant. That is interesting here. That is, role of oxygen in the regulation of respiratory rhythm is quite insignificant. So this way, process, the mechanism here, through this way, regulation of respiration in human body take place, and it is very important for human being. Functions of respiration. Now you can also find out yourself which are the main functions of respiration in human. If you talk about main functions related with this, as you know, it is required for energy production. Through respiration, energy is released, that is in the form of ATP, and which is required for carry out various metabolic activities in human body. Second, so maintenance of acid-base balance. Actually, during transportation of gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide also, this mechanism is observed. Maintenance of temperature, that is internal body temperature, it is approximately 37 degrees centigrade in human being, that is maintained through this mechanism. As you know, we all are warm-blooded animal. Okay. So this way this temperature, body temperature, that is maintained through this mechanism process. Then return of blood and we can say through this mechanism it is also achieved. So when respiration process take place in human body, these are some main functions of respiration process. Now let's discuss about one interesting disorder known as mountain sickness. Conditions characterized by the ill effect of hypoxia. Simply we can say it's a shortage of oxygen in the tissues at high altitude, commonly to person going to high altitude for the first time. Maybe some of you also have experienced this, that is condition which is characterized by ill effect of hypoxia. It means that shortage of oxygen in the tissue at high altitude, and commonly suppose person is moving first time to high altitude for this type of sickness. Some symptoms related with this sickness, that is loss of appetite, nausea and vomiting occurs due to expansion of gases in digestive system. So this is one of the important symptoms related with this. Second, breathlessness occurs because of pulmonary edema. It's also one of the symptoms of this mountain sickness. Third one, headache, depression, then disorientation, lack of sleep, weakness and fatigue. So when this type of shortage of oxygen is experienced by a person, so it's called hypoxia condition, and the abnormality disorder is known as mountain sickness, and it is having some of these symptoms. Disorders of respiratory system. As we know very well, when any function of this respiratory system, it means that transportation of oxygen and carbon dioxide or exchange of these gases, which is normally is carried out in normal way, normal amount in healthy person, in human body, then it's okay. But due to some abnormality, some condition, abnormal conditions arises with respiratory system, and some disorders are related with this. First one, asthma. All of you are aware of this term. What is asthma actually? Due to allergic reactions to foreign particles that affect the respiratory tract, at that time this type of abnormality take place. Maybe some allergens, they are present in our atmosphere and they can cause this type of condition. Some symptoms related with this: coughing, wheezing and difficulty in breathing. Due to excess of mucus in wall of respiratory tract, also it can be difficulty in breathing. So asthma, this disorder related with our respiratory system. Second one, emphysema. It's a chronic disorder in which alveolar wall are damaged, due to which respiratory surface is decreased. So we can understand when respiratory surface decrease, which type of problems can arise in our body. One of the major cause of this, that is smoking. Cigarette smoking is one of the major cause for this disease. Exhalation becomes difficult and lung remains inflated. So emphysema is also one of the chronic disorders related with human respiratory system. Third, occupational respiratory disorders. As the name suggests, it is related with a person's occupation or profession, and that's why it is named occupational respiratory disorders. It means that person is suppose working somewhere there in any factory or company where this type of problems related with respiratory disorder can arise due to this type of profession, and these are known as occupational respiratory disorders. In certain industries, especially those involving grinding or stone breaking, so much dust is produced that the defense mechanism of the body cannot fully cope with this situation. Long exposure can give rise to inflammation leading to the fibrosis. It means that proliferation of fibrous tissue, and this causing serious lung damage. Workers in such industries should wear protective masks to protect themselves against this condition, this type of disease condition. The main disorders related with this type, they are silicosis, asbestosis due to exposure towards the silica, and asbestos in some industries. Some symptoms there including proliferation of fibrous connective tissue of upper part of lung causing inflammation. So where this type of workers, they are working in such a type of industries that are involving with grinding or stone breaking, where dust particles are there, some fibrous particles are there, it can cause such a type of disease known as occupational respiratory disorders, and silicosis and asbestosis, they are name of this type of disorders.